Hello and welcome to the Timeless Astrology. Once a week, me and Alejo will share our understand and how we learning astrology with you. So, how are you, Alejo?
Fine, how are you, Rod? Nice to be here again.
Mm, Yeah, nice to be here. So today we're going to talking about Saturn in the second house. But of course, as
Yes.
usual, before we start, if there is any event you want to share with everyone.
Ah, yes, of course. So this Saturday, the 10th, we're going to have a webinar on minor and major aspects in
Mm-hmm.
astrology. If you want to join, it's astrology faculty of astrology, faculty of astrological studies. I'm sorry. And then on the 15th of February, I'm starting a workshop. It's 3 days on how to interpret a chart. So it's the whole process of interpreting a chart. Yes.
Definitely, because I think for most of beginner, how to interpret the chart is a task. And then I trust Alejo and the Faculty of Astrology will be you will be in a good hand to to learn how to do the chart interpretation. Well, both also on the Academy of Astrology, we decided on the 10th of February, we have Anna Andrade. If you are into the mundane astrology, you're probably already familiar with her. She's going to talk about the earthquake in astrology. So if you're interested, please contact us. And also, we also have another thing is the association both Alejo and I we belong to is astrological association. And we're
Yeah.
going to have an astrology duet. Well, this event is very interesting. I think every month, once a month, there will be a member of the astrological association give a talk and also talk about the chart, right?
Yes, so we're going to be talking about with Chris Mitchell about forecasting before Uranus was discovered. So
Okay.
you're all invited. This is for free, and it's kind of a informal event. So it's very funny. I think you
Okay.
should all.
Cool. Yeah. So also, if you want to join this event, you have to contact Astrological Association to book a seat. Okay. Well, let's begin today's program. So we are going to focus on Saturn in the second house. So basically, give you some idea about Saturn. Well, in the ancient times, Saturn usually has been seen as sign of the malefic. Also, they mean bring all the unfortune and the bad luck. But in the modern astrology, also psychological astrology, we use a very different view to see this Saturn because it usually brings some responsibility and the challenge into our life. But the last time Alejo tell us it's not just challenge and the responsibility, but it's also, make you become more professional, right, Alejo?
Yes, exactly. Because we develop, right? We are called to develop the areas we feel challenged, we feel we are not good enough. So then
Mm,
we master those areas.
yeah. So today we're going to focus on the Saturn in the second house. So, Alejo, how we usually going to interpret when someone who has Saturn in the second house?
Well, actually, it's a very nice. I always use this example in my classes,
Uh-huh.
actually, because it would be easy to say such second house resources, such a restriction. This
Mm-hmm.
person is poor; they're never going to have money. It would be a very easy interpretation to do. And I always put the same example. We do psychological astrology. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, instead of saying that, we could say that this person may feel that the resources they have are not enough. They may feel
Mm-hmm.
some kind of restriction, some kind of limitation when trying to achieve, accumulate, create income, resources.
Mm-hmm.
And in this way, it's much more interesting because you can meet rich people who have Saturn in the second and they feel they don't
Mm-hmm.
have enough, even if they're rich people.
Uh,
So it becomes more like a subjective reality and not so much an objective reality. And I would say,
mm-hmm.
yes, there is a sense of the resources that I have, there is a sense of difficulty or endurance, having to apply a lot of endurance to be able to create resources, to be able to create finances income, I would say. But then also
Mm-hmm.
the second house sometimes related with the idea of values and self-worth. So if Saturn
Mm-hmm.
is here, we would say there is a huge level of self-judgment. And perhaps it was projected, perhaps there were figures out there who made us feel that we were not worth enough. And now we have to work our way through. We have to put some effort in recognizing what are our resources, what are our talents, so that we can
Mm-hmm.
actually achieve a level of self-worth. We can actually believe that we have something to give to the world. And by, like you were saying the other day, Saturn takes us to the essence of things. So
Mm-hmm.
by doing this process, by feeling this sense of frustration when wanting
Mm.
to be valued, perhaps we will discover actually what are unique, very powerful talents that we have. And this hopefully will mature in such a way that our sense of worth will start to come from inside. So this authority that we were putting out there that was telling us if we
Mm.
are valuable or not is going to be inside of us, and we will decide what is our worth.
Wow, yeah, that is very deep with the Saturn in the second house, and that is like a building our self worth and our self estimate to slowly, very slowly to build up, rather than say, "Hey, look, guys, I'm so good." No, you have to slowly to prove it, and you have to earn the value, and you have to earn how you're going to, your value and your ability, and also there's a resource. So Alejo, you prepare a chart case today?
Yes. So we have a chart. This is coming from Argentina all the way. It's Diego Armando
Woo!
Maradona, the hand of God,
The
as we
hand
call
of
it. We call
God.
it the hand of God, right?
Yeah, we know, yes.
All of the reads now, I guess. Anyway, we have Saturn here in the second house. So this
Yeah.
means probably, well, we can imagine for him. First of all,
Yeah.
if we take it in a literal level, yes, he probably
Mm-hmm.
did feel he did not have enough resources because he comes from a
Mm.
poor family. He wasn't rich at all, and it's interesting
Yeah.
how he has managed to change that story and
Mm-hmm.
to feel that he has a lot of resources. But then it's true that he there is some sort of he Maradona, he was a person who he could talk to the Pope, he could talk to anyone, and he would always feel uh, worth enough. He would always feel like he was valuable enough. And I think it has to do with his sense of having to develop his sense of value, having to
Mm-hmm.
prove to the world what he's good at, what he's worth for. Because you can
Mm-hmm.
imagine, in where he's coming from,
Mm-hmm.
this is the one thing he could do, play football, and he did
Yeah.
it brilliantly. Of course, he's
Mm-hmm.
known,
Yeah.
and that's why he became a hero, because he represented all of a lot of, I would say, a lot of people that felt that they didn't have enough, that they were
Mm-hmm.
not being looked at enough, they were not being
Mm-hmm.
accepted enough. And he said, okay, one of us can make it. If I can make it, then all of us could make it. And that's why he became
Mm-hmm.
a hero. He represented all of these things. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
part of this, not the whole thing, but part of this is his Saturn in the second house, this quest for his worth, for his value, this desire
Mm.
of being able to decide to find what he's good for and being able to
Mm-hmm.
prove it to the world.
Mm. I think one thing, because you mentioned here's a Saturn in the second house, but I think worth to mention about the Saturn sign in Capricorn. Well, in the
Mhm.
traditional view, it does help. What I mean is maybe I mean let me, because I'm also I'm more likely a tradition I'm modern astrologer. So I wasn't really call myself a traditional astrologer. They were really upset with me. Okay, I'm most likely a modern astrologer. I don't know what's wrong with me today. So with that with Saturn in Capricorn, maybe it's more easy for him to express that Saturn value, to appreciate the Saturn's value, which means I'm in a challenge environment. So
Yes,
let me be practical, and let me just working harder to
yes.
make things happen, rather than maybe, I don't want to say another Saturn sign, they maybe just get very frustrated or get very angry. But Saturn in Capricorn, we definitely know they will deal the problem. When they face a problem, the first thing, just deal with it.
Yes, and it gives you discipline, I guess. Saturn in Capricorn is
Mm.
about discipline. So
Yes.
this was his worth, his talent. He was a disciplined
Hmm.
person. He had to train, he would train. And
Yeah.
he's Saturn trine Pluto. So I think this also gives
Mm,
him a lot of resilience and strength.
I agree. Yeah. Well, it's very interesting. In his chart, he also had the Saturn opposite Mars in the Cancer. Wow, that is kind of a well. Some people will say, "Oh, two malefic to meet each other must be a challenge." But I think I can see the driven from that. If face some competition, he is not going to give away. He will going to hang on there until he beat them. He's not going to, because that Mars stimulation is so powerful, will hit him so hard.
And Mars is the ruler of his chart, so it's a very important Mars. And it's
Yeah.
also the dispositor of his Sun in Scorpio, so it's a
Hmm.
very important
Yeah,
Mars. And
indeed.
Messi also has Mars in Cancer. And
Oh, okay.
I once made a list. There are a lot of athletes that have Mars in Cancer.
Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. So
I think,
that is
let me double check. Let's double check. Should I open it now?
okay. Yeah, yeah. Go on then, because it will be so interesting to see Lionel
I think
Messi.
it was
Where is his?
Messi.
Yeah.
Here it is, Mars in Cancer. So
Okay.
Mars in Cancer, 22 degrees. So I found that a lot of athletes have Mars in Cancer, and the
Yeah.
traditional
Yeah.
approach is that Mars in Cancer is so debilitated, so it wouldn't be a good planet for
Well,
athletes.
yeah, but I think maybe that is it because people just are looking on the debility, because some certain school in the traditional astrology, they will also consider Mars as a triplicity ruler. So I
It's
mean,
true.
if we go a little bit deeper, and maybe that triplicity ruler can bring something good with friendly way, or from the group, from the tribe, that is triplicity way to help the Mars. And then, yeah, couldn't deny Mars in Cancer. That's where it fall. So he may not feel good, but he will get help. He will get a grip. He will help himself to, and also maybe like another our friend Marcus Parchet. He will say, because Mars is a heat, and so dry and heat. When it would fall into water sign, they will cool it down, and give it moisture. So kind of tempt this Mars. So I think Mars, certainly, well, there is a downside of Mars in Cancer, but I think they can help themselves. So, and also, I mean, from our modern astrology view, nothing is bad. Everything, if you know how to
Of
use
course,
it,
yeah, of course.
everything you chart, if you apply it, you will be good with it. So even for the Saturn in the second house, maybe we would say someone who lack of resource, or someone who feel like a low self-esteem, but they will become the resource, and how they're going to work on with it.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Mm.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, so thank you. So, well, today we're talking about the Saturn in the second house. So, well, next week we're going to jump into Saturn in the third house, and that will be, I have a very interesting story going to share with you. So, see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.